Look at that.
Are you happy to be in Paris?
Bonjour. Now I can officially say the bonjour. How long have I been saying bonjour on this channel? Bonjour, créateurs. Je m'appelle Eramis. Bitch, learning French. Oui, oui. Anywho, y'all, just came back from Paris. I feel like it genuinely changed my life. I'm beaming. I feel so inspired and reinvigorated and I feel like I have a newfound sense of purpose with my work. And that's what always inspires me about traveling, going to different galleries, museums, exhibits. I feel like, of course, the general public can enjoy those anytime, but I also feel like the artists get an extra special something when we get to experience art in different spaces. But if you are new here, welcome, boo. I'm Miss Hamer. I'm an artist living and working in Seattle, Washington, and I love painting large-scale, colorful cosmic queens. Have they been, whatever. I feel like I've been saying that, but they be ebbing and flowing, okay? And for the past 4 years, I've been sharing my journey here on YouTube of the ups and downs of being a professional artist here in the States. But I'm like, is your girl gonna be having some travel content? Is she giving travel? No, not really. But if I am going somewhere and I do get inspired by that experience, of course, I love to share it with y'all, but especially how it connects to my work. Now that we got a little bit of intros out the way. So back to Paris. We are headed to a bus tour today, which I'm super excited about. Let's see. That salmon from the other place was
And then they got that raspberry or something I was talking about.
Paris. In Paris, all buildings are at the same level. You can look around, they're all.
My soul is lit up right now, y'all. We get the bus tours. I'm learning so much. I can't wait to tell y'all.
Things and all that, but they will pay. They will.
I really had no idea how much Paris would connect with all the things I love in regards to spirituality, the occult, Egyptian spiritualism, all the different elements. When I went to Paris, I was like, oh, y'all know what it is. Okay. So this September 2024, I went to Paris with my friends, and they are also creatives and artists. I was super grateful to be able to go with my girls. But essentially, I did go to Paris because I wanted to explore, discover, and really be inspired. My primary medium is acrylic paints. My paintings are really inspired by nature, music, all things in the sort of spiritual, mystical, magical space. The main themes that are found in my work is my visual representation of the divine feminine. But as a Gemini, okay, two sides, okay? I definitely love to honor the duality of life and how we have both the masculine and the feminine energy and just two polarities within ourselves, no matter what gender that you identify with. So I was super excited to see all the museum exhibits and specifically a lot of the 2D work.
I just wasn't prepared.
We about to hit these stairs?
We about to hit these stairs.
Get ready. When in Peulh, stay on this side, huh?
Well, I think it was hilarious. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't want to do a workout today. I was about to ask.
Oh, that's white chocolate. This is white chocolate. White chocolate.
Green sauce?
Yeah, what is that? It tastes like matcha.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, it's giving matcha. It's giving sweet matcha. So savory pancakes. Is that something that you're about to try now?
That might be my new thing. Salty pancakes.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
I'm super inspired by surrealism, and so I had no idea that there was actually a surrealism exhibit. It was like literally opening in Paris, like the day we arrived. I think it was like September 4th was when it opened. It was at the Centre Pompidou. I'm probably not saying that right. Okay.
Centre Pompidou.
Your girl went to Paris not knowing a lick of French, okay? But shout out to the French, okay? Shout out. I feel like everybody was so kind and sweet and so helpful. And like maybe it was because the Olympics was going on. Well, it was sort of like the tail end of the Olympics. They still had the Olympics logo on the Eiffel Tower. There were still like some closing reception events. There were still some matches going on specifically for the Paralympics. So I felt like the space was very welcoming to tourists because they knew that they were going to get a lot of influx of multilingual people. So they had English menus. A lot of the waiters spoke English. I wanted to get a photo, but yep. I just felt so held and supported, but it also was humbling. Okay. Is it this side? I think so. Okay, so back to the surrealism exhibit. That was at this incredible, beautiful museum, okay? It had all of like the pioneering artists of surrealism.
Yes, but look, it's like it's harvesting the moon too.
Oh, the twilight, like the stars.
It's very the moon with stars.
And I also discovered some new artists, which was like, that's always exciting when you find a new artist that you like a fan of. The artist that I saw that was new to me was Eiffel Tower, and she's a poet, a painter, a cultist, like, and I love finding women in esotericism because like I feel like that's my little secret passion project, you know. And it's interesting because I love painting like colorful bright people, you know, but a lot of my studio work, especially these new pieces that I'm actually working on a new series. I finished up my astrology series, also had another solo exhibit called Once Upon a Space-Time at Art Noir, which is a gallery out here in Seattle. And that exhibit felt like the beginning of a new series. And so the Once Upon a Space-Time exhibit, I'm building on that series, and these are the ones that I'm working on. And a lot of them are rooted in more esoteric readings that I've been exploring. And so to find Eiffel, I was like, oh, this is super dope. She also loves to use color and like bold colors the way that I do as well. So it was really inspiring to see her work. Her story was really interesting when it comes down to being a part of a collective of people. She was a part of the Surrealist group. It was somewhere on the a part of the exhibit, so I'll probably put that up for y'all to see it. But she was essentially kicked out for her study of esotericism, and I thought that felt odd to me. That felt really odd to me because I feel like a lot of surrealism work is inspired by, I mean, sure, like we know the sort of thoughts of exploring the subconscious mind, exploring dreams, this sort of apocalyptic scenes that we can see often. It can have a lot of gore. But what I also really loved about this surrealism exhibit is that they had a section that was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. And I love children's stories. I love incorporating a lot of color in my work. So this was the wing of the exhibit that just like brought so much life and playfulness and whimsical nature that I was drawn to. But yeah, back to Eiffel, I was like, really? Y'all gonna kick us out? She was like, all right, I'm out, deuces. Like, I'm studying when I'm studying. And I'm like, yes, sis, okay? I'm so for that. Mind you, the whole time I'm reading the Book of Thoth, the books of Enoch, okay? Decoding hieroglyphics and Kemet. Like, your girl is going there. And so to hear that Eiffel was excluded from the Surrealism collective was really interesting, you know? But that also reminds me, like, even though she was sort of exiled or like kicked out of that collective, her work was still a part of this exhibit. And because of that, I was able to see her work. I was able to discover her paintings, learn more about her poetry. And it's just like, yeah, like you never know the impact you having on people. These are the moments that remind me as artists to be courageous and to like stand on whatever you want to create, whatever sort of crazy concepts you want to create and put out into the world. Somebody might resonate with that. And so, yeah, I'm definitely resonating with Eiffel's work.
Was inspired
Like, let me
nature.
paint.
Let me paint this.
Okay, look, it's an arrow.
Just in case.
Just in case
You missed it.
I love it. Just in case. Okay, look, Helen. But coming back to Paris as a whole, I was just really fascinated with Paris's admiration for the Egyptian culture. And of course, right, like Egypt is admired all over the world, but I think it was really fascinating to see, like, from the pyramids and the Egyptian antiques collection at the Louvre all the way to the name of Paris itself. Whether it's true or legend, I think it's still fascinating that there's some connections between Isis and the actual name of Paris. And I'm not gonna go into all that, okay? But I have to give mad love to the Black Bus Tour that was in Paris. This is where I learned a lot of this, and this is where I feel like I was just so grateful, specifically also that we did the tour early in our trip because it gave us so much of this foundational information about Paris.
With a lot of artists like Picasso, Van Gogh, etc., they might start by renting something quite cheap in the area. We're not meant to.
T-shirt, you have this one, and let me show you.
Oh, beautiful.
You also have this one with the Fulani woman.
Look at those earrings.
Yes, perfect match with this earring.
I'm like, my sister's gonna try to steal one from me.
And you have this sweater. This sweater is inspired by the movie Black Panther. The long one. If you want to.
it just helped us get the lay of the land, and having somebody who lives in Paris as our tour guide, and having the black bus tour towards the beginning was super helpful. If you go to Paris, you must do Ricky Stevenson's Black Paris tours. Our tour guide was Nawu. She was an incredible Black woman who had so much history about Paris and about the African Americans who came to Paris, who made Paris their home. We learned about, of course, we know about Josephine Baker already, but she talked about some of the first Black soldiers in Paris, pilots, sculptors, musicians, just like so much. I highly recommend Ricky Stevenson's Black Tour. We was also able to meet Ricky's daughter. She came out and joined us on the tour, and yeah, it was definitely like one of the highlights of the trip, without a doubt.
How did they get this in here?
This, I don't know if y'all can see the scale. When they say that the Louvre is a maze, it is a maze, okay? We straight up got lost in there in the best of ways. I was just enamored by the Egyptian antiques collection, and it's huge. There's always like a bittersweet experience when you go to museums and knowing that a lot of the art is stolen or taken from its home location. There's always a complexity of emotions that I feel, but I let myself live in the duality of those emotions. But I was definitely grateful to be able to see a lot of the stuff that we saw. We officially going to the deep end, okay? I feel like the problem with the occult is the word in itself, right? I think it means like hidden or to hide or like hidden knowledge. We live in a whole different time where there's so much information that's now available and people are able to read for themselves. This does feel like a time where now the secrets are being shared. There's power in that. There's power in knowledge when you actually realize that there's a defamation of the divine feminine and that there were a lot of people in power manufactured fear around a lot of these sacred rituals and practices and beliefs so that they could have power. Now, if you aren't new, then you know I am also a student of the law of one. So to even use the word they feels false because we are all one. But part of the process, in order to create fear, you have to create separation and you have to create an enemy, a scapegoat, essentially. I don't know how far we want to go into this, but it is interesting. I felt like I was able to dive more into a lot of this during my time in Paris, and even seeing the Egyptian antiques that they have brought so much more of my studies and readings to the forefront. And there was a lot of like bittersweet in it. I think the bittersweet emotions that I have is like when somebody knows how powerful something is, and the way that they keep other people away from it is by creating creating a narrative that it's evil, it's bad, it's demonic, it's satanic. And when you go back to the origins and you see Egyptian antiques that actually had snakes and these feminine goddesses and Pan, and of course Pan is more the Greeks, but so much the Greeks stole everything from Egyptians. So it's just like, you know, what was so great about visiting the Louvre, even though it was a maze, okay, it was like so blatant. Yeah, sexual energy is definitely one that even comes up when I think about the phallic symbol and the phallic symbols that's in Egypt, and just like, but also the snake and how the snake was defamed, but how sacred the snake is, and Kundalini energy, move your body like a snake, I like that. Okay. And as somebody who was raised in a church, who was a church girl, okay, I shared that on a video talking about my experience in the church. And it was beautiful, actually. I didn't experience a lot of church hurt where a lot of people might have suffered those experiences, but suffered, that feels heavy. Like suffer. I mean, yeah, like it could definitely be a suffering. Like it can definitely impact your life when you have those negative experiences in a church, in a safe space where you felt that you could be held, you know. I feel even more sad when I think about the ways that Christianity has been used to manipulate people and to keep people oppressed, or to keep them under a state of control using the tools of shame, fear, and guilt. But what does inspire me, okay, and empower me is to be in this age where we are asking questions. And the more questions you ask, the more you will find, you know. And that's why it's like, shout out to the Bible. Like, it do be having a good gems, okay? Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened, okay? And what was so exciting about Paris, it definitely feel like a lot of doors was opening, but it's also like you gotta get ready for what you might see behind that door. And you might find that, oh, this entire time I've actually been lied to, and that's hard, that's heavy, but now how do I take my power back? How do I actually realize, like, oh, I do hold the source and power within myself, and nobody has to tell me, nobody has the power to make me feel unworthy, less than, like I'm a part of any negative vibration that doesn't feel in the highest alignment with myself. When I realize the truth of the source that's within me, and the truth that we all are one, yeah, it's like you can't shake that anymore. You can't use the tools of division anymore. You can't keep the illusion up anymore. And I think there does come a moment where we have to prepare, because everybody not ready for the change. Okay, everybody not ready for the change. Okay. But there's a lot of us that are, and there's a lot of us who have been preparing, and there's a lot of our ancestors who've been laying the way, giving the foundation, writing, creating art, making music to remind us of those truths. Those are the moments when I remember how powerful art can be and how it can bring us back to ourselves and the spiritual roots that is just the foundation of art. Even if people don't identify as like a spiritual artist, or like, oh, their work isn't about spirituality per se, there's still just this underlying core of that creator that's within us all. And we actually started in this series. We haven't finished it yet. Okay, so I don't know what the end's gonna be. It's a series on Apple called Silo. And the symbolism, and like, that's what's crazy. Like, when you start reading stuff, like, you start seeing symbols. You start seeing symbols everywhere. You start seeing, it's like, oh, this is the Freemasons. Oh, this is the Golden Dawn. Oh, this is the Tree of Life. Oh, this is the Hermetic principles. Like, you just start like seeing it everywhere, and it becomes a beautiful unfolding, and you see how everything is linked. But the Silo is really interesting. It's a really interesting show that I think talks about how the powers that be actually know. It's just so crazy. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm a painter, okay? I don't always have the words, but I am able to transmute it through a painting. And that's what I like to do throughout my work. And that's what I like to share here with y'all, okay? If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for letting me go there, for letting me unpack a little bit, have a little bit of conversations, and let y'all know how I went to Paris for creative inspiration, but I found something completely different that I was not ready for at all. So thank y'all so much for being here with me. And of course, a special shout out to my co-creators, my patrons over there on Patreon who are helping making this possible for me. Thank you all so much. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. maybe this would be a good analogy. You know, like when somebody has something powerful and they have something great, and they don't want to share it with anybody. And so the way that they keep you away from it is actually telling you a lie around it. Like, oh, no, girl, you don't even want this. This is terrible. Look, it's terrible. It's going to have you breaking out. Like, is it gatekeeping? Yeah, look, you know how the girls be gatekeeping the skin cream, whatever. I don't know. No, that's not a good, girl, that's the worst analogy. That is not a good analogy.